Hey friends, before the episode begins, we have an exciting announcement to make. We are officially having our first ever podcast cruise.
Yay!
If you are interested in sailing with us and sailing with lots of other fun DCL podcast friends and family, you can join us on the July 18th to 23rd, 2026 sailing on the Disney Destiny. Knock out that brand new ship. Christy, where can our listeners go to book this sailing?
You can reach out to me at Christy@packyourpixiedoes.com. You can go to my website and go to the contact me section, and there's a form you can fill out and just give your information and we'll reach out and we'll get you booked. This is a 5-night Caribbean cruise to Cozumel and to Castaway Cay, 2 sea days, which is exciting.
Yes, we are so excited. We are so excited to welcome you all aboard the Destiny with us. So we do hope that you consider joining us for this sailing. As we said, we are still working through the nitty gritty of the details, but reach out to Christy to book, or if for whatever reason you are booked on this sailing or have booked this sailing, reach out to just let us know that you want to be part of the group. We will definitely be doing different meetups through the lounges. It's going to be just a genuinely, absolutely great time. So we hope you consider joining us. And with that, we will be on to the show.
Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly.
Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast to cruise a little smarter. I'm your host, Lake, and I'm joined by my co-host, Christy. Christy, how are you today?
It's been a day, Lake. How are you?
I am doing pretty good. We have another exciting episode, an exciting guest.
Yeah. God, I wish I would have thought of some cute way to describe her, but in the movies, they would be like fast talking and doing all the things. And that's what we have. I love her.
Yes, she always does a terrific job when she comes on the show. So with that, let's jump into it and welcome Kira back to the show. Kira, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks, Christy and Lake, for having me. I'm excited to be back and talk about our recent cruise that we just did.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Well, you have frequented the show quite a few times in the last year, actually. So instead of going through the usual cruise background, let's talk a little bit about ships. So your first 2 shows we had you on, we talked about the magic and the wonder. And today we're going to be talking about the treasure, and your cruise before that was also your first time on a Wish. So why don't we talk a little bit about kind of your thoughts on the Wish class ship compared to the other ships you've been on?
I am excited for the Destiny after seeing these 2 ships. I think if this is the future of what Disney Cruise Line is doing with their ships, it's incredibly exciting. I really think they knocked it out of the park with the treasure. The Wish was beautiful. We did just a 3-night on the Wish in April, and it was not enough time. And really what ended up happening is we were on that trip and we decided to book this sailing on the treasure because we felt like we wanted to see the treasure and we wanted more time. So we didn't even really feel like we got the lay of the land and the kind of the setup of the Wish in 3 nights, but we got the overall gist of kind of the beauty and just the next level of detail from what I would say the classic ship design and decor. And so the Wish was 3 nights in April, and this sailing was a 7-night sailing on the Treasure for a Western Caribbean itinerary two weeks ago. So I don't know how to pick a favorite ship. I know a lot of people like to. For me, it's whatever ship I'm on is my favorite. I feel like if I was on the Wonder right now, that would be my favorite. So if you could pick from each class what your favorites were, I could definitely do that.
Okay, let's hear them.
The Magic, just because that was our very first sailing, holds a special place in my heart. And then the Fantasy, we've been on 2 Fantasy sailings and they were amazing. And then definitely the Treasure. Just an incredibly beautiful ship. Just really, really beautiful.
Yeah, I can't wait till I can get on the Treasure and experience all of its amazing theming. And you're totally right. It's hard to experience all of the Wish on those 3 and 4 night sailings. It really is. And it maybe doesn't do the Wish enough credit. I am looking forward to the potential of the Wish doing some different and longer sailings here in the next couple of years.
I think for sure, because you really don't. I mean, we left going, we didn't see this and we didn't see this and we didn't see this. And it's really hard in 3 nights, even 4 nights. So
Really quick before we leave the Wish and we enter the Treasure, what was your favorite space on the Wish?
we really enjoyed, I can't remember the theater, not the Walt Disney Theater, but the other one. I know that on the Treasure, it's Sarabi.
Luna.
we enjoyed that space. I liked where it was located on the ship. I know that a lot of people kind of didn't like that location. I liked it because I liked that there were also other things around it. And you kind of always had to walk past it to get to something else. And so it actually made you stop and just kind of like spend some time there, see what was happening. And then on both ships, like we really just like to explore all the different lounges and bars and just kind of take that in.
Love it. Well, let's jump into it. You already mentioned why you booked this cruise. So let's go ahead and get down to Port Canaveral. How did you get down to Florida?
So we flew to Florida the night before. We stayed at the new Poly Tower. We're DVC members, so we used some of our points to try that out. And it was beautiful and lovely. And then we actually rented a car and drove to Port Canaveral only because we were gambling on the back end and had a 10:30 flight on the way home. And so we wanted the control of having a car and being able to get to the airport on our own timing. And so we rented a car and drove to Port Canaveral and parked. We've done that before. Very easy. We had an early port arrival time. I believe we had the 11 o'clock spot. So we got there about 10:30. I think we were on by 11. There is some construction going on at Port Canaveral. There's some stairwells that are closed, some elevators that are closed. So you're kind of redirected. Nothing major, but just enough that kind of like when you're used to the lay of the land, it throws you off a little bit. So people should just be aware of that. So we ended up somewhere, we came out and I'm like, I don't think this is where we're supposed to be. And this lady was like, oh, she just whisked us right in. I mean, we didn't wait in line. I mean, I said, we got in, I said, I don't think we were supposed to go in this way. But however we exited, it was not right. When we were on the Wish in April, we were in the other terminal.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that was a first for us in that terminal, and that was super smooth and easy. So,
how do they have that terminal set up?
it was like, I remember going in and it was just like rows and rows and rows of chairs, very open, restrooms right away. And then you are going in through security down on the lower level, you go up and then they just kind of, you said we did concierge on that cruise. So we were in like a little alcove with the concierge folks wait. And that was kind of it. So nothing really exciting.
They don't have Mickey ears though, right?
No, nothing.
So you have a smooth embarkation. What was it like getting on the Disney Treasure for the first time?
I had watched a lot of videos and seen a lot of pictures, but they just don't do it justice at all. I truly believe like the beauty of that atrium is really just standing there and taking it all in and really seeing it all come together. And often we would find ourselves like in off times, I call them, kind of walking to the atrium to take it all in because that grand staircase is supposed to look like a waterfall. And then the carpet in the atrium is like the lake or the pooling of the water. And you don't get that when you walk in the side, when you first enter the Grand Hall. But it truly just standing there and walking in and taking in all the colors together and all the details was spectacular. And fun fact, the Halloween tree was up when we boarded. They had put it up from the cruise before and when we boarded. So, and apparently this was a new tree to the ship and her name was Ginger and all the things. So
what type of cabin did you book?
So we stayed in concierge again, and we were in a family veranda ocean view stateroom. So it was the extended room. So it had the ability to sleep 5 with the Murphy bed that pulled down. So
all the way forward on deck 11?
We were on deck 12.
Oh, okay.
Forward deck 12.
Nice.
It was nice because we had a lot of extra space because obviously we didn't pull the Murphy bed down. It was just my husband and I. So we had a lot of space. It was really, really nice. But also I think for anybody that's sailing with a family of 4 or 5, I think it's important for them to know that like there is enough space in that room, to sleep those people. You just have to be strategic about where you put your stuff and how you pack it and, the storage and utilizing under the bed. But there's plenty of room.
Quick clarification. This is not, the tree was up, but it was not actually a Halloween sailing, right?
It was not a Halloween sailing. The tree was up. She would light up at night and there were cool like banners hanging in the atrium. And then all of like a bunch of the windows had on different Halloween like sticky things on on the windows, like in the Grand Hall area. The clings, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. So I believe the sailing after us was a Halloween on the high seas.
Okay. Well, let's backtrack just a little bit because I did actually miss that this was a concierge stay. What did you book ahead of time using the concierge benefits?
So since we booked this cruise in April, we actually booked it after the booking window for getting, several things for the concierge, one mostly being a cabana, which was, we were fine with. I mean, a cabana would have been nice, but we were fine without one. So we took the opportunity to book Palo dinner, Palo brunch through concierge. Also, my husband did an old fashioned tasting. He did a bourbon tasting, and we each did some spa services. So we used concierge to book all of those things for us. And also we had been assigned late dining, and we always like early dining. So we used concierge to help us bump us to the earlier dining.
Awesome. We will get into all of that here shortly. Let's get back into your embarkation day. You get onto the ship. Where are you heading?
So we decided to go against the grain a little bit and not go to the concierge sit-down lunch this time, because we just really were excited to see the ship and explore the ship. So we actually had eaten kind of a later breakfast. So we walked around for a while and just explored the ship, and then made our way up to the barbecue spot and got barbecue, because we loved that on the Wish and we didn't get to eat it enough. So we hit that up and just sat there and ate that. And I mean, our room was ready right after lunch. So I went into our room and checked that out, which was stunning and gorgeous, and the theming was beautiful. And then, we just really walked around and explored until our muster drill.
Awesome. Did you check out the concierge lounge as well?
We did, and we were one of the first ones in there because we skipped the lunch. So it was kind of fun to go in there and just see it without people in it, because the theming in there is Star Wars, but it's very subtle. It's not in your face. It's not tacky. Just like the entire ship, I feel like, is the theming is just on point, and it's just so tastefully done. And the concierge lounge was no exception. The carpet was themed. There was a really cool light up sculpture of lightsabers, like right when you come in the concierge lounge. And so it was fun just to see the lounge without any people in it.
Did you eat up there too the first day, or just the barbecue?
In the lounge, we ate snacks, a lot of snacks. Always have a lot of different snacks out. And so I think that was all we ate that first day. But we pretty much ate breakfast in the concierge lounge every morning.
Awesome. Did you do the sail away party?
We did. It was fun. I liked it because it's different than the other ones. The nostalgia of it, like when not having little kids anymore, like I feel like it's just not as exciting, but it's still just kind of, I feel like, sets the tone for the rest of the trip for you. And it was a lovely, lovely day out. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't rainy. And so it was perfect weather to be up there and watch it.
All right. Well, why don't we make our way around the treasure? Let's go ahead and start with activities and entertainment that you found yourself doing around the ship.
So we did some bingo. We watched the silent DJ dance party. That was super fun just to watch it and take it in. We did some trivia. And then we did the tastings. My husband did, I didn't. It was called the Sarabi Supper Club. That was the Indiana Jones themed rendition with a coriander and sage. At first we weren't sure what it was, but everybody was sitting there and everybody kept coming and coming and coming. So we're like, it's gotta be something good. It was hysterical. It was so funny. They just so well done. We really, really enjoyed that.
I don't even like Indiana Jones.
I don't either.
And it was so good.
So well done. Yeah.
It was so entertaining and so funny.
And so well thought out and creative. Yes, the creativity just blew me away. We watched Jack's Diaper Dash, and that was a highly competitive. There were 3 heats. There were so many babies to get to the championship round. So that was super, super cute. Oh my gosh, so funny. Let's see. We went into the hero area to check out the inflatables. We didn't get in them, but we just wanted to check them out and see, because we didn't really on the Wish get to see like what that looked like or anything.
Okay, well, that's really good to know, because it's the Nassau day on the Wish typically. And so if the ship is going to Nassau and it's a weekend cruise, and so it's good to know what the options are. Just bring your socks. It's super fun. Adults can do it. Kids can do it. The kids are almost always going to win because they are very fast, lower to the ground. They could get through the stuff quicker.
That's a great space.
Yeah. Did you do anything else in that hero zone?
We did not. We just kind of checked it out and looked at it. I think it's a really, really great space for kids. Just such a level above what they offer on the other ships for them. Being able to be indoors and not kind of weather dependent to be outside for them is huge. So it's a great space.
It's huge.
I think of any like cruise ship sports deck. That is like the best one. And I'm not like go and play sports on the sports deck, but I do love the design and the way that they have built that one and turned it really into like a multi-purpose room.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Well, interestingly enough, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law were at the Treasure in the spring, and the basketball court was down because somebody had went to go like dunk on the hoop and shattered the hoop.
Oops.
So, but it was fixed when we were there. So, and then shows we did all the shows in the theater. So, and they had on for the one night, they had on these three singers who were they were singing like Disney tunes and like top, like greatest hits tunes, but like kind of like with like a New Orleans, they were from New Orleans. So like a New Orleans style. They were good. We really enjoyed them. And then they were doing an adult only show later, but we didn't make it to that. So they were good. The three shows in the Walt Disney Theater were just fabulous.
What was your favorite of the shows?
I'm very partial to Beauty and the Beast. Like that is my all-time favorite movie. So I love that show, and I could tell that they've made a lot of significant changes to that show, The Treasure, from the Dream. You can just tell that what they've done in terms of the projection is just incredible. But Moana was fabulous. I wish they would have Hey Hey in Moana. I feel like they missed an opportunity there like they did with Olaf in Frozen, but it still was really, really good.
What night was Moana?
So they ran it the last 2 nights so they offered Beauty and the Beast 2 nights, and then they offered Moana 2 nights, and they were the last 2 nights of the sailing.
I think that's a great improvement. And did they do a matinee at any time?
They did not. I was just going to say that they did not offer matinees. So I think probably the trade-off was a second night, both shows. So 4 shows total. We had technical difficulties in our show during Beauty and the Beast. And then we heard there were technical difficulties the next night for Moana, but they were quick fixes and the show was back up and running. But I feel like when you're doing a show of that caliber with that amount of like mapping and video technology, it's bound to happen. So
of the tastings that your husband did, do you know which was his favorite?
The old-fashioned tasting. Even he did it at 11 o'clock at night, and I was fast asleep, but he loves it. He loves Hook's Barbery. Like that is his spot. And both of them the tastings were in there. And so he just loves it because Hook's Barbery it's small, it's quaint, it's not a lot of people. And so it's quiet. And so he just really, really enjoys it a lot. So
awesome. And you mentioned that you had done spa services as well. How were they?
They were great. I tried a rainforest room pass this time for the first time since I was on it for a week. I figured like I might get the most use out of it, and I did. I used it quite a bit. I kind of tried to figure out when it would be the least crowded, and it seemed to work pretty well. There was one time I was out in the outdoor deck of the spa, and I was the only one out there. And so, I mean, it was lovely.
What was your hack? Like what can our listeners, when should they go?
The evenings, anytime during the dinner hours. I think I went the one night while my husband was at the tasting. So we had early dining, we went to dinner, and then he went to the tasting and I went down to the spa, and there was literally no one there. And then sea days. So we got off the ship and we did things in port, but then we were back on pretty early. And so I would go to the spa right away because there just weren't that many people there. So I actually, on the 2 days that we were at sea, I didn't even go in it because I knew it would be crazy in there. I did get a facial. It's kind of always my go-to on a cruise. And then my husband went to Hook's Barbery and did the men's shave and facial, which he loves doing. And he also got a haircut this time.
Yeah, it's fun to go in there and do a shave and a haircut. I have done that as well. Well, were there any other activities from around the ship you wanted to discuss?
I don't think so. We spent a lot of time just walking and exploring. And I mean, I wear my watch the whole time, and we averaged over 10,000 steps every day. Even on sea days, we would walk the hallways to look at the room, the door decorations, but also to just kind of look at try to figure out the different theming of each floor based on the carpet and the lights in the hallway. And then we tried to make sure that we went up and down each stairwell so that we could see all of the beautiful artwork that's in each stairwell. I mean, everywhere, every time we walked, we saw something different that we hadn't seen before in a picture or in a display. And even like the decorations outside of Scat Cat Lounge. I mean, everything there was nothing that they missed. And so we really just spent a lot of time exploring the ship.
Well, sticking with that, were there any like lounges or anything that stuck out to you for superior theming? Where did you find yourself hanging out at?
Well, we loved Skipper Society. That was a fun place just because their drinks were really fun. Obviously, the Haunted Mansion parlor was really spectacular and fun, and it would sometimes be crowded, sometimes it wasn't. A lot of times it was just people kind of walking in to look at it, and then leave. The bartenders in there were spot on in terms of like playing character. The drinks were fun. It was just a really fun vibe and atmosphere in there. But we also really liked the Rose, and we liked the Rose because it was quiet, not a lot of people there, and the views just sitting there were just phenomenal. I mean, floor to ceiling windows, and your chairs are facing out, and so that was a great lounge. And then I really enjoyed the two cafes, the Jade Cricket Cafe and the Hey Hey Cafe, just because their drinks were fun, and they were always busy, which was good to see. So, and then we spent a lot of time too just sitting in the concierge lounge.
Did you utilize the outdoor space out there as well?
We did. I will say on this cruise, we took a gamble going during hurricane season. And so I was a little nervous. And honestly, we had quite the opposite. The seas could not have been any calmer. And there was no breeze almost the entire sailing. So it was hot, and it was hot up on that outdoor space. So I usually would go out there kind of first thing in the morning to have my coffee, or later in the evening when the sun wasn't so intense, but we did utilize it.
Awesome. Well, why don't we turn towards dining? Before we get into your rotational dining, let's talk about just other places where you found yourself during your meals throughout the trip, breakfast and lunches, that sort of thing.
I will say, so we were huge Cabanas family, like huge. And so we did Marceline Market. We didn't really do Marceline Market on the Wish. We kind of ran out of time. And so we wanted to make sure that we hit Marceline Market for breakfast a few times. And I will say both times it was a bit of a miss. Not what we were used to with Cabanas. It was a little bit disappointing just in terms of offerings, variety. So we found ourselves just eating our breakfast in the concierge lounge. And the lunch, it's really hard to beat that barbecue and, Donald's Cantina. And so we found ourselves gravitating towards that more. And then we did Apollo dinner and Apollo brunch, which we can talk about. And for rotational dining, we got to be in Coco for 3 nights. We had fabulous food the entire trip. We really did. I mean, there were some people in the Facebook group complaining about the food and service, and we had wonderful service and wonderful food the entire time.
Well, let's stick with rotational dining. Anything else about Coco pop out to you?
I loved the theming. It was really very sweet and well done. And, I loved Tiana's, and I love, the Frozen restaurant, and the shows and Tangled, the shows can get, or Rapunzel's, the shows can get loud, but I felt like in Coco, it was like they came in, they would do a few things, they would leave, you'd get a little bit of a break where it was quiet, you could visit, and then they would come back, and it didn't seem like it was too much. It felt like it was really well done. Marvel, unfortunately, the second night of Marvel was our Apollo dinner night, so we got to only experience Marvel once.
It was your same Marvel that you had already seen.
I know. So I believe we missed the trivia and the trivia night. Yeah. So we missed that, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm bummed that we missed that. So hopefully when we go on the Destiny, we'll be able to see that show. And then 1923, we were in twice. So it was great.
Well, why don't we go ahead and discuss your specialty dining? You had Palo brunch and dinner, correct?
Yes, correct. And they were both wonderful. We had the same waitress or server. She was fantastic. And we got to sit at the same table both times, which is the back of the ship. There's just something really calming about sitting and just watching the back of the water, the wake out of the back of the ship. It was just lovely. It was really, really, really nice. We had great food. And I feel like our service sometimes it can get kind of long in there. It wasn't long, but it also wasn't rushed. It was the perfect amount of time. And so it was great. We tried some new things that we hadn't tried before, but then we tried, we had the usual things as well. So it was great. I don't ever have any complaints about Palo.
Share some of your highlight dishes from brunch and dinner.
So for brunch, I tried Eggs Benedict this time, and it was really, really good. And of course, we tried the lasagna and the chicken parmesan. No, we didn't do the chicken parm this time. We just did lasagna. And I love the almond croissants. They're so yummy. And in the concierge lounge, they take that almond croissant and put a raspberry filling in the middle one morning for breakfast. It's so good. And then for dinner, I did the arugula salad, which was really good. And then this time I did what she said was one of their signature dishes, and it was the veal dish with risotto.
The ossobuco.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that was the first time for me for trying that. And then my husband did a Wagyu steak for the first time, and it was fantastic.
Love it. Any other notes on any of the food on board the ship or dining before we move on?
No, I mean, really, other than Marceline Market, we had fantastic food, and fantastic service. So I have no complaints. It was fun to try new things, I think, because, when you're on the other ships, you kind of get used to the same menu in the rotational dining. And so to be in new restaurants, especially having Coco, we were able to try so many new things, which was really, really nice.
Love it. Well, do you have anything else you want to discuss around the treasure before we move into your port stops?
I can't think of anything. I guess like I said, I just really encourage people to take time to just go out and walk around I got up one morning really early and just walked around and went to the atrium to see it and take it all in without a lot of people around. It really is truly beautiful.
It can be a lot of fun to do those early morning walk arounds before the ship is up and moving.
I did think of one more thing. We noticed the atrium chandelier. I don't know what it changes colors almost every night. We were kind of trying to figure out what the coloring. I know red for Pirate Night, obviously that makes sense. But I wasn't sure what the other nights, if they were set to a certain theme or if it was just something that they did. But it was really, really cool and beautiful to see it different colors each night.
I don't think anyone has discussed that before, and I certainly haven't seen it myself. I love that. Well, we are booked on a Western Caribbean sailing. So we have Cozumel, Grand Cayman, Jamaica, and Castaway. Was Cozumel your first port stop? What did you get up to this day?
So we got off for a little bit and we took a taxi cab booked this on our own. We did a beach, like a resort pass I'm looking it up because I want to make sure I get it right. We took a cab to this resort. It was an all-inclusive. It was the Iberostar Wave in Cozumel. And it was a pass for $85 and you could get food, drinks, and then they had huts with shade and beach chairs, and then you had the beach and to spend the day there. And it was 20 minutes there and 20 minutes back in a cab. So you could get an additional pass and pay, I think it was $200 to get a room if you wanted a room as well. But we didn't do that. So just a nice option for something different to do. There was just nothing that Disney offered that really looked interesting to us. And we just kind of really wanted to just be on a beach.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, let's go ahead and discuss Grand Cayman then.
Grand Cayman, we did do a bit Disney excursion and we did the 7 Mile Beach. Basically, you take a bus to 7 Mile Beach. You are given 2 lounge chairs and an umbrella, and then you're just on the beach and there's places to eat there. There's bathrooms, water, and that part you're all paying for on your own. So the Disney excursion included the bus ride to the beach and back, and then the chair rental and the umbrella. And then I would say the only downside to that, the positive is that whole system, and there were so many people that did this excursion, I think just because it was easy, it was cost effective. It's a well-oiled machine. I mean, the people in Grand Cayman that run it do a very, very good job of moving people through to the buses. And then once you get to the beach, they have people there kind of ushering you to the chairs, telling you where you could go for food, where the bathrooms are. That was just fantastic. The level of service I thought was really good. The disappointing part for us was that the entire waterfront area was just covered in jet skis and different things that you could rent to go out on. So you couldn't walk directly out into the water because all these things were right there in the water, and they kind of blocked your view also. So we walked down a ways on the beach to actually get into the water. So that was the only kind of disappointing part.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think if I had to do it again, I probably would just take a cab to that beach. There are plenty of public spots that you could get, and then you're kind of not at the mercy of the buses also. But it worked out fine. It was great. And the water, it was beautiful. It was hot. It was very, very hot, but it was still, and we had shade. It was beautiful.
Yeah, 7 Mile Beach and the water in the Caymans is just absolutely stunning. So I definitely recommend people doing a beach day, but that is a good advice about maybe getting there a different way.
Yeah. When we got back, there are a lot of shops and areas to just kind of walk around in that port. So we did that for a little bit before we got back on. It is a tender port, which again, we were the only ship there. So there were so many tenders going back and forth, and they really keep you moving. And I mean, tender ports can be a little bit of a pain, but it's also kind of cool to see the ship from a different angle out on the water, and then, kind of see the island from the water also. So I don't mind the tenders.
Grand Cayman has their own tender service too, correct? It's not the lifeboats.
Yes, they have their own service, and they were big boats. They held a lot of people.
Yeah, typically when you have a port that has its own like proprietary service, it tends to go a lot smoother than doing the lifeboats, I find.
That makes sense.
Well, let's move into Jamaica then.
We did not have anything planned for this day, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. We had some of our concierge hosts were actually from Jamaica, so they were giving everybody all sorts of ideas. So we kind of took what they had and ran with it, and we got off. And the port in Falmouth is actually very, very nice. It's done very well. There's a lot of shops. It's clean, a lot of places to eat. So we just got off. We walked around there. We explored that area. Some people that we had met were doing the Dun River Falls, and we contemplated that. And actually, after they got back and we heard about it, I'm glad we didn't do it. But we just kind of just went to some of the different places to eat and have a drink that the people in the concierge lounge recommended. The big thing there is meat pies. It's kind of like a puff pastry with either meat or chicken in it and cheese. And so we wanted to try that. And so that we just got off for a couple hours in Jamaica and then got back on and used it more of just a ship day.
So did you stay within that square, within the confines?
We did not leave we did not leave the square, but it was pretty big. I mean, you could really walk around and do a lot in that square. I was really, really impressed.
Well, that's great that you found places to like eat and drink, and it is huge. I agree. And it is very well done.
And if you have any listeners that are really like to shop for items that are made or, local to that area, they had a lot of natives there selling their work for reasonably priced. And it was really, really impressive and not pushy. I think part of them being able to be in that square is apparently that they can't kind of market and sell to you, is what we were told. So really just you kind of can walk through the market without feeling like you have to buy something, or that you're kind of being, attacked to buy something, unlike Cozumel, where it's a little more pushy.
Oh, good to know. Well, then you have one more stop. You are at Castaway. What did you get up to on Disney's private island?
We were a little worried because when we got there, it rained for the first hour, but that was it. And then we had a beautiful rainbow over Castaway before we got off the ship. So that was really, really neat to see. And we got off and we walked. We didn't have a cabana, so we just walked and found some chairs and just sat for a while and read and kind of took it all in, and decided to kind of stay at the family beach, have lunch at Cookies, hang out there for a while, and then walk over we like to go to not Pelican Point. What's the bar?
The Heads Up Bar there.
Heads Up Bar. We like to go over there and get a drink and just like take in the views of the ship and take pictures. And we found actually really good seats along that walk out to Heads Up Bar. And so we just sat there for a while, and then we ate lunch. And then we took the tram over to Serenity Bay, which is the adults or 18 and up area. And that was actually happened. It was pretty busy over there. And so we walked almost all the way down to the end of Serenity Bay, right before where the crew has their beach and their area. And we found chairs and we sat down there. And I think it was us and maybe two other couples. So it was super quiet. And we just sat there all afternoon. It was hot again, not much of a breeze. So we just get in the water, cool off, come back, sit down. It was great. And it was fun because there were a lot of crew in the water and on the beach down in their area. And they were having so much fun. They kept flipping kayaks. And so we had a great time just watching them.
I love good people watching.
Yeah. And then we like to stay on Castaway as long as we possibly can. So we didn't even head back, I don't think, to get on the tram to head back till like 4:45, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, and Castaway, like after 1 o'clock, like really clears out.
In fact, they didn't even come down and weren't even like bar service wasn't even coming down towards the end of where we were sitting, which was fine. I mean, we were fine without it, but it was cleared out. There were not a lot of people. It was also very warm, so I'm sure people headed back in the afternoon to stay cool.
Speaking of being warm and heading back, Did you guys use the pools on the ship at all?
We did. We used the pools in the adult area and in the, no, not in the adult area. We used the pools in the concierge lounge. And then at deck 13 forward, is there a pool? We didn't realize there was a pool up there until I think like the third day we were up walking. And we didn't even know that area existed. And that I think is kind of the beauty of those Wish class ships is if the more you explore, the more you find. And there's all these, like, I feel like hidden areas of spots like where you can find extra seating or seating in the shade. And there is not a lack of seating on those ships at all. And so we went in that pool as well, which was fun because it's kind of tucked away and in a fun spot.
I love that little pool.
I actually like the adult pool on the Wish and the Treasure, but only because the only time we've ever been in it is because it was like super late at night and the pool was still open and we were the only people in the adult area. So we had the whole pool, basically the bartenders to ourselves. Like, it's a very cruise core memory for me and Katie. Well, Kira, anything else about the Treasure before we sadly disembark?
Oh, I know. So sad. I can't think of anything. Our room was Lion King themed, and I love the Lion King, probably second to Beauty and the Beast. And so it got me super. And then having the Sarabi Theater, which, gosh, just the decor in the Sarabi Theater, just really spectacular. And so it got me super excited for the Festival of the Lion King or whatever the new dining area is going to be, the Destiny. I'm really, really looking forward to that. So I think the only other thing is like you can buy a lot of the artwork that's on the ship. There's some kiosks outside of the gift stores where you can buy the artwork. So it was really fun to look at that. And the gift shops were lovely. Lots of merchandise available. Not sure why people line up so early for it, but there was plenty of merchandise to be had. So
did you buy any art?
We did not. We had bought some pieces from the Riviera in the spring when we were there. And there is, I'm sure you remember in the Treasure, a spectacular, huge mural at the end of one of the stairwells of all of the ships, kind of like in the Norwegian fjords, it almost looks like. We want to buy that, but I'm hoping that they put it on the Destiny and they add the Destiny to that artwork. And then if they do, we're gonna buy that one.
That would be very cool.
Love it. Well, did you have any other notable cast interactions from this sailing?
I would say, our servers for our rotational dining were really, really good. And she was such a sweetheart. She was from Jamaica. And at first, very, very quiet. And I think she was just trying to feel us out and kind of see what our vibe is. And then, by the second night, she was so talkative and sweet and playing funny jokes on us. And she had us in and out fast. And she just said, like, I know it's just the two of you. You don't have a lot of people and, you don't need to sit around here all evening. And she had that food out so fast for us. I've never gone through a meal so quickly there. And it probably helped that it was just the two of us, but she was great. Like I said, our server Impala was great. All of the concierge hosts were great. And then we had a great server that we saw a couple different times in the pub. The name is Periscope Pub, which we were in there twice because we are huge Packers fans. And the Packers happened to play Sunday, Thursday that week. So we were able to take in two Packers games in that Periscope Pub.
Love it. Well, sadly, you must disembark. You've already actually hit a little bit on your disembarkation game plan, but how did that work out for you getting back to the airport?
Yeah, so we did express walk-off. And so we did not put our luggage out the night before. We kept it. And our plan was to line up for express walk-off. And so one of the perks of concierge is that you go to the concierge lounge, and as soon as they make the announcement that guests can start to get off, even before that, actually, the concierge lounge gets notification that they can take you down the elevator, which they have access to. They take you down and you are in a priority exit lane, essentially is what I called it, where all these other hundreds of people are lined up for priority exiting, but you get your own special lane. And we waited there. We were the first in line on that. And we were the second people off the ship. The first two people were DVC crew members, and then it was us. And we were to the airport by 8:30. So it worked out great. It was a gamble, it was a risk that we took, but it worked out great. So when we disembarked the Wish in April, we actually had a later flight, and so we weren't in any rush. So we actually took our time and tried to be the last ones off the ship. So it really kind of just depends on what you are what you need, and if you're doing Disney transportation. I think a lot of people want to be on a couple of those first buses off.
Definitely benefits and fun to both ways. We have certainly done the relish every minute, but we've also been first off the ship and home by 9:30.
Yeah.
Well, Kira, what is next for you?
So we're going on the Destiny in April, and then we are going on the Destiny in June. And on a June trip, we are taking my sons and their girlfriends, who are both first-time cruisers. So I'm very excited to take the two girlfriends on the cruise. And then that is a 7-night going to kind of the same itinerary with the exception of Jamaica, but it's going to Lookout Point and Castaway.
That's awesome.
Love it. Well, we definitely hope you come back on and give us some thoughts from the Disney Destiny, which it sounds like you are very excited to experience as well.
Yes, can't wait. I'm very, very much looking forward to that ship, especially after seeing this. We kept walking around going, I wonder how they're going to do it on the Destiny. I wonder how they're going to do this on the Destiny, knowing kind of a little bit about what we know on the Destiny. But I feel like everything everybody talked about and knew about the treasure, you just don't really get it until you get on the ship. And so, because there's just so many hidden details that people don't talk about, everything down to like the light sconces on the walls in the treasure, like, just those are the details there are just incredible, and people don't talk about that because it's just, but it really is just, so I'm super excited to see what they do with the Destiny.
Yeah, I think that the design team for this class of ship really knocked it out of the park, both with their selection of artwork, but also just the little details, like you said, the light sconces and the fixtures, where if you're in the hallway and you look up, there's actually shadows that then go to the walls, and Disney has done it in such a way to make sure that you can see whatever it is that they're trying to show you. And I realize the sentence came out a little off, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Yeah.
They knocked it out of the park.
They really did. And even the carpet. I mean, the carpet is just spectacular everywhere you go. So I think the lighting and the carpet and the artwork just blew me out of the water. Like, it was just crazy impressive what they did with it. And it is tastefully done. It is not tacky.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Well, Kira, I think that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you again so much for coming on. We always enjoy having you on, recapping your trips with us.
Thank you for having me, and I look forward to being back.
Absolutely. Christy, where can our listeners follow you?
You can find me all over the internet at Pack Your Pixie Dust. If you'd like to work with me, Lake has made a Work with Christy tab in the show notes that you can click on and fill out the form, and I would love to work with you going forward. Lake, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at MouseGen, and you can always follow the podcast on Instagram and Facebook at DCL Podcast, or check out more information at our website at dclpodcast.com. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next time on the DCL Podcast. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's going to wrap up the show. Once again, we want to thank Kira for coming on and sharing her adventure on the Disney Treasure. If you're enjoying the show, we greatly appreciate you leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We'd also like to thank our Patreons who help make this show happen each and every week for us. You too can help support the show by visiting us at patreon.com/DCL Podcast. Whether you're boarding a cruise, enjoying a trip to the parks, or adventuring outside of Disney, on behalf of myself, Christy, and Steve, we want to wish you smooth sailing and safe travels. And we'll see you next time on the DCL Podcast.
The DCL Podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.